Namaste, Carrie Lynn. So as I said, I just wanted to show you a couple of things for getting into drop backs and also coming back up. So it's just maybe, hopefully it will help. So this is just how my process basically, okay? So first of all, if you can get it from your knees, if you can do it from Kapotasana, that's always a good place to start. You know, once you can get it, there's the ability to come up from this, then it becomes much easier when you try to do it from standing. So if you're doing it from here, there's a few ways you can do it. You can take both hands together, really press the hands together, and take your hands right behind your head. So from here, you lift up, you push your hips forward, you try to come down with control. So to build your strength, you can even just start by doing this, or even just start with your hands across your chest. And eventually you can start to work with your cactus arms. Imagine you have a hinge at your knees. Eventually your arms up. You don't have to worry about back bending too much. Just work on concentrating your thighs. Make like a rigid board. Roll the thighs towards one another. Really imagine you're holding a block between your thighs. Okay, so you press your thighs one towards the other and come down lower and lower. Try to come down as flat as possible. Okay, so then you have another way of getting, maybe take one elbow and reach. Stretch out your arms when you come down. Spread your fingers, really engage your fingers. Make your hands strong so when you come down, you're not hurting your fingers. Okay, so keep your arm close to your ear, right beside your head. Okay, so, and then when you have that with your arm outstretched, then you can work at bringing your hands together behind your head. So you're going bit by bit, so each time you have to have a little bit more strength. Come down, press into your fingertips, and come back up. Okay, so squeeze the forearms by the ears. Keep your fingers super strong by pressing your hands together, flat ones. You couldn't push a piece of paper to your hands. Okay, so you don't have to go down all the way, but you know, bit by bit, as you get strength, they'll look that strength to come up and down. So I find it easier to hold the breath as I'm lengthening to come up, as I'm standing, then hold the breath until you come back up and then breathe out. Okay, so you can do that a few times, as many times as you can. Now, next, if you want to try to come back up, if you can do Kapotasana, you can do it for your knees to start. Your fingers beside your head, press into your fingertips, slide on the back of the head. So now turn your fingers towards your feet and see if you can bounce. So do little push-ups here. Eventually see if you can get a little bit of bounce. Push off the fingertips. The closer you have your hands to your head and closer to your feet, the more you imagine someone's pulling up by the thighs. Even if your hands on your knees, back to your knees to start. So whichever one is easier for you. I find that the fingertips, you know, even if you just lift your palms, flatten, come back up. Eventually, press off your fingertips, get a little bit of height. Eventually, if you push hard enough, you'll be able to throw yourself back up, all the way. Okay, so it's just building a strength through those exercises of just leaning back, building your core, building your thighs, your strength in your thighs to come up. Okay, so once you've mastered that, you can come to standing. You can do it against the wall like I've seen you do. Walk down walls, like, you know, with a cushion on the chair, that's a good way. If you open up your feet wider, your toes pointing out, start with your hands on the seat, bend your knees quite a bit. Your knees go beyond your toes. Push into your seat and try to push your hips forward as much as possible. So when your knees are bent, you're closer to the ground. Then slide your hands down the backs of your legs and so you can see the floor behind you. And if you can, so you can take one hand up, and if you're close to the ground, your fingers come to the ground, and then the other one. Okay, so that's, these we get into it. Okay, and then come back, one hand on the back of the leg, push forward a little bit, push into the back of the leg, hold the breath, and bring the other hand to your leg, and then walk your way back up. Okay, so you get comfortable doing that. And eventually, you can do it a little more fluidly. So you keep your knees quite bent again. You look down, eventually hold your breath. You might be able to take both fingers to the ground. And to come back up, again, it's if you can get that action of coming up from Kapotasana, you do the same kind of thing. You have to throw your hips forward a little bit. Imagine there's a rope attached to your belly and to your thighs. Push off your fingertips. Lift your palms so you can get up. And then come back up. Okay, so you hold your breath. So as you get more proficient, you can bring your feet a little bit closer. So you bring your arms up, bend your knees, look behind, make sure you can see the floor, and you come down. Come back up. Try to get your hands as close to your feet as possible so that you're not in a natural position at this point. The body doesn't want to stay here, right? So you push your thighs forward, hold the breath, press into your feet, push into your feet as you come up. Okay, so all these little movements, all these, like, you start with your knees bent, low to the ground. Eventually you have the confidence to straighten your legs a little bit more. And then soon you'll be able to hold your breath and come all the way. Can even, when you find the strength, can even come onto your fingertips and come down. Hey, so I hope that helps. Happy playing, happy practicing. Namaste.